You guys doing all right? I also just want to point out something. A lot of these new worship leaders and kids that you saw up here, they're all from our kids ministry because it's something that we're really passionate about here at Barefoot, and I know our kids ministry is very passionate about it. We like you to know that we don't just babysit over there. Like, it's real. These kids, these leaders, Alex and Darian, they're the worship leaders for the kids ministry, so they can sing. They can play instruments. Alex can play a bass solo. Like, there's real leaders, and we're really instilling the vision of God and the vision of Barefoot Church into your kids over there. It's real. It's not just babysitting. And I know you guys are wondering, who is this guy up there? What is happening? This isn't Pastor Clay. He shrunk some. Well, no, I'm not Pastor Clay, but I can still express myself. You remember that? I will never let him live that down as long as I live, because that was funny. I actually was told not to do that because I was told that it would look stupid. Apparently, if I'm not Pastor Clay, doing that looks stupid. But just so you guys know who I am, a little bit about me, I am the student director here at Barefoot Church, and my name is Quinn. So if you are in, 6th or 12th grade, come hang out with me on Wednesday nights. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll party. Not really. It's fun, though, but it's not a party. We have some parties. And I am 20 years old, just so you guys know my age. And I've been coming to Barefoot for about 5 years now. I started out as a volunteer in the kids ministry, and I started to get more involved. And a lot of leaders started to instill what they thought my purpose was, which was completely different from what I thought it was, but it's fine. And they started to grow me and teach me and allow me to step up and allow me to do things at a young age. And then I actually preached for my first time at our student ministry at 18. I was actually still a student. I was a high schooler when I did it, which was super cool. I thought it was the coolest thing ever that I was a high schooler getting the opportunity to teach the other high schoolers. And then I realized that was just something that I wanted to do, and I dreamt for a long time, for a couple years, of becoming staff here and actually being able to work for this house and work for God's vision here. And then it happened at the beginning of this year. My dreams came true, and it was like a pivotal moment in my life when I realized, oh my gosh, like, this is it. I actually get to do this for a living. This is what I get to do. So it was crazy. So that's just a little bit of a backstory about who I am. Now, I want to talk about this thing we had all week last week called Extreme Nights. There's actually still some confetti in the ceiling from it. It's pretty cool. It might just start floating down at some point. It'd be awesome. We had estimately 60 responses to the gospel of Christ that week. All children. That is insane to me, and that number is insane. That is why we're here. It's why we do what we do. It's why we come to church, and it's why we put on those giant parties and spend countless hours preparing for an entire week, is so we can get those 60 responses to the gospel of Christ. That's 60 kids who said, I was touched by God this week. Something crazy happened in my life this week. It's awesome. And then $1,800 raised for missions. That's all kids. Like, these are our kids, our next generation. They would save up their money all year long in their piggy banks, and you'd see them walk in with their piggy banks and just dump it in the jars for the boys and girls. They save all year for Extreme Night. It's crazy. So I just love that event. I love what our kids are doing, and I love what we're able to do as young people here. I've never seen a house or a vision like Barefoot that allows people to step up into their purpose and even challenges them to do so. And that is why I love it here. It's amazing. It's incredible. And the next thing, we're going to be talking about, I will crush my purpose, which is one of the nights that we taught at Extreme Nights to the kids. We taught them all week how to crush different aspects of life. First night was crush obedience. Second night was I will crush listening. And then it was I will crush my purpose. And then it was I will crush life. We taught them how to combine obedience, listening, and the purpose together to then crush life. Because you can't crush life with missing one of those things. And yes, parents, don't worry. We told them to listen to the parents. That was important in life. That was needed. So, I didn't listen to my parents, though, when I was a kid. So it's fine. Just a little funny story about me when I was a child. I was a terrible child. It was awful. I had a leash, people. I was one of those kids that was in Walmart. I had one of those monkey harness leashes when I walked around in Walmart. Because I thought it was a game when I was like 7, 8 years old, if I could take off running through Walmart and hug some random stranger's leg. And parents, you're gonna hate the sound of this. And I would hug this random stranger's leg like it was some kind of candy or something. And then I would not let go. And my mom would try to come get me and pull me off the stranger's leg. And then I would start screaming, please, please, don't let the mean lady get me. And then it gets worse for her because then she disciplines me, right, like a good parent would, pulls me off their leg and starts spanking me at Walmart. And the stranger's like, oh my goodness, that kid's being real right now. She abuses him. I thought it was a game. So listening was something that we taught them was important. And we just want to kind of bring that to you guys, bring the fun of Extreme Nights, bring the craziness and the cool aspects of kids ministry and student ministry and Extreme Nights to you guys this week. And kind of just share basically a recap of the whole week and what we taught them. That way you guys can get the same thing. Because I believe that we all should know how to crush our purpose. I don't think anybody should walk through this life and not know what their purpose is, how to crush it, and then how to crush life by being obedient and listening to what God wants for your life. I think that is important for everyone to realize, no matter how young, how old, what gender you are, it's important and it's needed. Because like who loves the feeling of failing at whatever you're good at? Neighbor, help the arm up a little bit if you have to. Help. Nobody? Man. No, so we don't like the idea, the feeling of failing, of falling down flat on our face and not knowing where to go next. Because that's when you feel purposeless. Is that moment when life knocks you on your face and you're sitting there on the ground and you're like, okay, what now? That's when you get stuck. So when you get stuck in this thing called a rut. But if you have a purpose, when you fail, because it will happen, and you get knocked down, if you have a purpose, you can begin to then pick yourself back up and say, I may have fallen, and this rut is where I'm at, but I have a purpose, and I know my purpose is to be over there, so I have to get back up, I have to keep going, and I have to get there, because this is where God needs me to be. It will keep you going. And that is why your purpose is important to crush life. Because I can't imagine trying to maneuver life in 2017 in Myrtle Beach right now and not have a purpose. Like with this traffic, I don't just get out and drive just for the fun of it. I need to have a purpose of going somewhere else. I'm staying home in the summertime. I'm not fighting this traffic and these crazy people. So purpose is important and it is needed. So in the midst of this and thinking about what we do and the things that hold us back from our purpose. And I know we talk about purpose here a lot, and it's because God talks about purpose a lot. And I started thinking about things that hold us back. And I started thinking about things that held me back from my purpose. I want to say like back in the day, but back in the day was like 5 years ago for me when I was 15. But back in the day for me, what held me back was 1 million reasons. Come on, if you're a teenager in here, and if you are the parent of a teenager, you know they got 1 million reasons why they can't do whatever that you ask them to do. But my leg hurts, I got a headache. And you're like, son, if you only knew what a headache was, try living with you for a year and a half. Like, but this kind of continues on to being adults though. Our reasons just in our mind get more legit. Reasons why, I can't tithe and can't be obedient in that sense because my bank account isn't big enough yet. Well, I can't do that anymore, God, because of what happened to me 14 years ago. I'm too broken and I'm not able to do that anymore. Or, God, because of who I am and what I do when I'm not at church on the weekend, the life that I live, you don't want me to step in and get involved or run a camera because you won't accept me because you don't know how bad I am. So I can't come to church because, I just don't live right. I need to get myself right first, then come to God. That's terribly wrong. You come to Jesus, he forgives you, he heals you, and then you allow him to be your life coach, then he gets you right. That's the way that works. So we just have all of these, honestly, and I'm just going to speak from the heart because I do it too. We have all of these excuses. It's 1 million excuses why we can't live out our purpose. For some odd reason, we wake up every day, like for instance, why is Monday such a bad day? Because it starts with an M? I don't understand. Even as a kid, I never understood why Monday was a bad day. All days end in day, and this one just starts with mun. So I don't understand why it's bad. Because like if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you say to yourself is, well, darn it, it's Monday. Ugh. How in the world do you expect to have a good day? How in the world do you expect to live your purpose? Is the first thing you tell yourself, well, this is going to be awful. It's Monday. To me, Monday is the day right after church. That's the day when you should be waking up full of the Spirit, energized, ready to go, and ready to take it to the world. Monday should be the good day. That's that day. But see, if you change your mindset, it'll change your life. And I only say this because it's truly what happens. And it's truly what I did. And still sometimes do. I mean, I'll be backstage sitting here shaking, nervous before I get up here. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is not cool. I can't go out there. This is ridiculous. Like, and then God's like, you're going to have to because I told you to. So you're like, really, God? No. But we make these excuses of why we can't do things. And it honestly holds us back. And the blunt, honest answer here is that we give the enemy way too much credit. And it's just the fact of it. I see way too many people going, well, Satan just don't like me today. Well, no, you told yourself you were ugly. He didn't do it. Like, oh, well, Satan just took all my money out of my bank account. You went clothes shopping 3 days ago. Satan didn't do it. You blew your own money. It wasn't his fault. Like, and it's just, you can be your own worst enemy is my point and what I'm trying to say. You can be the one that distracts you, and you can be the cause of you from not fulfilling your own purpose more than anybody else, even more than Satan, even more than the enemy, who, because a lot of times he doesn't want to completely destroy you. He just wants to distract you. Because all Satan wants is to take you from here to here. Because if he gets you a little bit off, you're going to keep going down that little bit off track. And next thing you know, when those trumpets sound, you're way over here when God needed you here. So stop being your own worst enemy. Stop making excuses, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we have a God who says, get your heart right, tithe with a good heart, be grateful for what you have, and I'll take care of your bank account. I don't care what happened to you 14 years ago, because I'm the God of the universe. I can heal that. I can take care of that. So just listen to me, be obedient to me, and get out there and accomplish your purpose. I don't care what you did last night, because I forgave you of that. I don't care how good you think you are, because it's not about how good you are. It's about how good my son made you in my eyes. So get up, do something with your life, and believe that I created you for a purpose and for an amazing plan that I have for you. And just so you know that I'm not being weird and talking whatever I want to say, there's a verse. It's very common. This is like everybody learns this when they were a kid in the church. It is Romans 3:23 and 24. 3:23 and 23 and 24. Can we get on the side screens? Cool. I'm going to read it with you guys. For everyone has sinned, we all fall short of God's glorious standard. That is last week. That is your 2 years ago. That is your 13 years ago. That is your last night. That is the bad stuff that you think God no longer wants you. That is your excuse now. Oh, I can't do that because of that. Well, God basically says, yet, being another word for but, God freely and graciously declares that we are righteous. He did this through Christ Jesus when he freed us from the penalty of our sins. So, you're sitting here making these excuses why you can't, and God's saying, I've already freed you from all of that. You just got to believe in the Son, my Son that I gave for you on a cross, and then you are freed from all of your past sins, all of your future sins and your mistakes. Just get out there and keep trying and be obedient to me and love me with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength. That is the point. The point is to stop being your own worst enemy. Stop tearing yourself down. Because, and I did it, and here's a little personal story of how I did it. Just to let you know that, I've been through a lot, even though I'm only 20. I, as a kid, had a couple speech impediments. I still have a lisp now. I grew up in the country, so I had to grow out of that country accent that was terrible. It was bad, guys. I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere in Southern Virginia. It was bad. I talked like I didn't even know what language was. And then as a kid, I was too lazy to learn how to speak correctly. So even now, like when you guys make the L sound, you put the tongue into the roof of your mouth, right? Mine sticks straight out. It's the way I pronounce words. I screwed up my speech because I was too lazy to know how to talk. And then when I was about 6 years old, I was told by my speech class teacher that I was always and forever going to want to avoid public speaking, that I would never want to be a person who used speaking for a way to live, that I would be a person that unless I practiced really, really hard to get better, that would never be something that I would ever want to pursue. Well, lady, nothing against that lady, but God had other plans for my life. God said, I don't care what you've done, but if you can stop making excuses real quick and allow me to free you of that, I got a place I want to put you. I got a purpose for your life. So that's what we're going to talk about. Reasons why we should let go of our excuses. And the second point that I have for you guys is what can help you get through everything that you face in life. What can help you stand strong? We talk about this a lot too, and it is the word foundation. Foundation is incredibly important. Do we have anybody who knows anything about construction whatsoever in the house tonight? All right, we got 2 people. Love you, Eddie. Always making me feel good. So, if I was going to build a house, and I was going to dig my post about 3 feet in the ground of sand, and put my house on top of it, when that big old rainstorm came last night, what's going to happen to my whole house? The ocean is going to eat it. I'm going to be homeless, living in a box. But if I take my house and I plant that sucker in about, say, 8 feet of concrete, it's not going nowhere. And that is how God wanted your life to be. God wants you to build your life on a solid rock, a cornerstone that your life was built to be on, a cornerstone that freed you from all of your sin, a cornerstone that says you can when you say you can't, a cornerstone that says that when life hits you, he's got you. That cornerstone. And that cornerstone is Jesus. And your life is supposed to be, you're supposed to stand on the shoulders of Jesus so he can hold you up and help you display who God is to the entire world. That is where your foundation is supposed to be. Because you cannot tell me that if you truly, firmly believe with all of your heart that the same power that rose Jesus from the grave lives inside of you, that anything this world can throw at you can stop you. At that point, the only thing stopping you is you. If you believe you have that power inside of you, you're the only thing stopping you. And that's just the honest truth of it. And I had to realize that. And then I came here and I saw our symbol on the front of our church. It's pretty cool, but it's not just a cool symbol. And it is so cool that I put it here on my arm in permanent ink. Not because I like the church and the church symbol's cool. Listen to me. I didn't do it because I wanted the church symbol. I did it because I wanted my symbol on my arm. The symbol that represented how my life was supposed to be built. It reminds me of everything that I'm supposed to be. Not because I just wanted the church symbol on my arm, because I wanted my symbol on my arm that helped me live the way I wanted to live. That's why I changed it to red. Woohoo! Because I thought it represented the blood of Christ, but it's fine. And what it means is this is the bottom part is a C. The top part is an L. That means that Christ, you're supposed to build your life on top of Christ, the solid rock and cornerstone foundation for your life. And the edges align on the sides of the L. That way you know that your life is supposed to align with Christ, what he wants for your life, and align with the purpose that he has for you. And as long as your life is then built on top of his foundation, aligns with him, then your life can begin to crest and peak to everything God has planned for your life. That is what our symbol means. That is what I have taken into my heart to firmly believe, because I have had a lot of stuff happen to me when I first moved here, and even as a kid, things that I use as excuses, but then I realized that I could turn that and use it as my foundation instead of excuses. Like the hardships that I went through. My parents were divorced when I was 3 years old. So when my personality was developing, I was around a lot of aggressive behavior. My dad throwing things at my mother, objects being thrown around the house all the time. Luckily, I don't remember a lot of it because my memory is bad because of my short-term memory loss. And what happened, my dad's fantastic now, by the way. He got saved. He's an amazing father now. He's changed completely. And he watches me every time I speak from Virginia online. It's amazing. Every single time. And if he misses it, he'll go back and when it's archived and watch it there. And so it's incredible. And what I learned was that through all those things that I went through and being divorced, a lot of hardships and decisions come with that. For example, every single holiday, birthday, Christmas, New Year's Eve event, you have to pick which parent you're going to spend it with. As a kid, basically you have to decide, what parent do I basically want to tell that I love more this year? What parent do I want to spend my birthday with? What parent do I want to celebrate my birthday with? Who do I want to live with as a kid? What parent do I want to allow to raise me? Like, those decisions are hard as a kid. And then I got older, and when you're 15, the court and people start allowing you to make your own choices completely about who you want to live with and what parent is allowed to have custody over you. And in that exact moment, not long after I turned 14, 15 years old, my mom comes into my room one day and says, we're moving to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You can come with us and your stepdad, or you can stay with your dad and your stepmom. Your choice. So basically, in that moment, I had to decide where my life was going to go. Like, at 15 years old, I had to figure out what I wanted to do, where I wanted to live, and who I wanted to be in that moment. And I had less than a week of notice to make that decision of we are moving to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I chose my mom, and I came here. And little did I know, God had crazy plans for my life once I got here. But shortly after I moved here, a lot of tragic deaths started happening in my family, all in Virginia. Couldn't even make it back to the funerals half the time. Sometimes we did. We made it back to 2. And it was just crazy because I felt like I had lost everything. I had lost my dad. I was 2 states away from him now. My little brother, my terminally ill stepmom, 2 states away from her. I felt like I had been ripped away from my entire life. And then I realized, and then all these deaths in the family started happening, and things started to get worse. And then I realized that I was basically at rock bottom at that point. I didn't know where to go and what to do. But then I had something left that caught me. I had my foundation. I had Jesus, who caught me at the bottom of all of that and says, this is not the end for you. I moved you here so I could get you where I wanted you to be. I had to stop making excuses, and I realized that when I lost everything, I still had everything. Because I still had my foundation. I still had my faith, and I still had Jesus, and I will always have Jesus, and I will always have my foundation, and I will always have my faith. So it doesn't matter what happens to you in this world, if you have your foundation, I believe you have everything. That is what I believe. And I believe that if you take that to heart and you run with it, nothing can ever shake you off of it. But you have to want it. That is a choice and a mindset you have to switch from. You have to switch from these hardships are tearing me apart to these hardships are getting me ready for everything God has planned for me. You have to realize that you can't give up. Because this really cool guy named Thomas Edison said this really amazing quote. He said, those who give up only give up because they have no idea how close to victory they truly were. If I told you every time you had hardships that your victory was right around the corner, you'd never give up. You'd be like, okay, cool. Tomorrow we're going to win. Let's go. Well, God wants you to win every single day. So every day you choose to wake up and give up. The moment you wake up and say, oh, it's Monday. You've already lost your win. You've already lost the win, the battle that God wanted to win for you. So foundation is important, and that's why I believe foundation is important, because it's everything that we have. It is what keeps us going. It is what motivates us, and it is what is driving us to our purpose. The next thing that I have, guys, is right here. And I wrote it like this so you guys could say it with me. God gave me a purpose. I need you to say that because I need you to believe it when you say it. God gave me a purpose. You have to believe that, because God can tell you, anybody who's speaking up here can tell you, but it means nothing if you walk out of these doors with a cold heart and don't believe what was said to you. You have to be the one to believe that you have a purpose. You have to be the one to decide to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to listen to God today and not these other people. You have to be that person. You have to be that person that tells yourself, it doesn't matter what I did yesterday. It doesn't matter what I did last week. It doesn't matter it matters what I'm going to choose to do with today. It matters who I'm going to be found in when that trumpet sounds. That is what matters, and I have a purpose. You have to choose to make that decision. That's your choice that you have to make. Now, I'm going to read some scripture to you guys, a very common scripture, but I'm going to point out some things that we kind of skip over sometimes about it. And it is in Exodus chapter 3, verses 1 through 10. This is the story of Moses, part of the story of Moses. Don't have time to go through the whole thing. It's like a whole month and a half sermon long right there. But it starts out like this. One day Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of a bush. Moses stared in amazement. I would too. Though the bush was engulfed in flames, it didn't burn up. This is amazing, Moses said to himself. Why isn't that bush burning up? I must go see it. When the Lord saw Moses coming to take a closer look, God called to him from the middle of the bush. Moses, Moses. Here I am, he replied. Do not come any closer, the Lord warned. Take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Basically, I am the God of the universe, and you need to recognize that. When Moses did recognize that, when he heard this, he covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord told him, I have certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries of distress because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt into their own fertile and spacious land. It is a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, and all the other ites live. Look, I'm just making it shorter, guys. Look, the cry of the people of Israel has reached me. I have seen how harshly the Egyptians abuse them. At this point, I'm like, great. You heard it, you seen it, God. You're gonna go fix it. This sounds awesome. Woohoo! I'm gonna go back to my home. You make it happen, Jesus. We're gonna do great. You do it, God. But then here's where everything changes. God says, no, now go, for I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people, Israel, out of Egypt. So, God did come to do the work, and he did do the work. But he gave Moses a purpose. And what we're seeing in the scripture that a lot of people miss sometimes is the complete reorientation of Moses' life. If you don't know the story of Moses, Moses was born as a Hebrew and then sent down a river as a baby and then basically took in and adopted by the Egyptian royalty, raised as royalty, and then stood up for one of the people and actually ended up killing an Egyptian and ran away because he was fearful. So he went from running away to God saying, stop, wall, you're done, to now go back. He went from living thinking, maybe this is my purpose. I'm royalty. I'm a leader of Egypt. This is who I am. This is who I was created to do. Little did Moses know, that was just God preparing him and setting him up for the purpose that God was going to give him, that, by the way, took the rest of his entire life to see come true. And he didn't even get to go into the promised land, but his purpose was to lead them there. It took the rest of his life to fulfill his purpose.
Yes, Lord.
So what we're seeing is Moses getting his entire life changed and flipped upside down on its head. The complete redirection of his life. And that is kind of sort of what happened to me. I thought that I was going to play sports for a living for the rest of my life until I was about 15 years old. I thought I was going to play baseball or basketball. And then one day I realized that I am only 5'11", and that basketball players are like 7 feet tall, and they will block me every time I try to play. And I'll just never created to do that. And then I started pursuing baseball, and I played baseball for 14 years. I counted that I doubled up seasons. I played for like 3 different teams at one time. And I trained hard. And then at 15 years old, I had minor league scouts looking at me for like teams like the Pelicans and stuff at 15. So the day I turned 18, they wanted me. And then I fell on an asphalt basketball court and tore everything out of my arm. I have damaged nerves from here down and ruined everything. My arm is completely shot. And I could no longer play baseball. And that is when I thought, well, my life is over. This is the end. Take me now, Lord. I was so done. And then I had to move here to South Carolina, and that's when things got worse. But what I didn't realize was all of that stuff that I had been through and the training for multiple teams was all a setup. It was all God preparing me for the amazing purpose and plan that he had for my life to get me here at Barefoot Church in 2017. It was all a setup. My excuses was his setup. My problems, my hardships was his foundation that he was trying to build under my feet. I just wasn't listening. That's what it was. So, and our purposes may look different for everyone. Your purpose may be different from mine, probably is. Like I know Pastor Clay and I were up here singing, worshiping the Lord a second ago, and it hit me that neither one of us can sing worth a darn. I'm standing beside Pastor Clay, and I turn my mic on. All I hear is Pastor Clay just, corner. I'm like, oh my goodness. It is why we don't lead worship. It is why we talk instead. That is not my purpose. I will never try to sing because your ears will bleed and you will probably leave this church. But I will do what I was created to do, which is talk. If you can sing, get up here and sing. Fulfill your purpose. Do what he created you to do. So I'm saying that because a lot of times we look at people, we're like, well, then God just wants me to be a preacher. Not everybody. He doesn't want anybody to be a singer. He also doesn't want everybody to be a landscaper. Did you know you can serve the Lord by landscaping my lawn? Because I don't have time to cut my grass. But if you can't, show me the love of Jesus, come cut my grass. For real. I'm serious. Like all purposes are different. And he's called you to be the light of the world wherever you go in life. He wants to put himself in you so you can put him in the world. That's his purpose ultimately. So however we accomplish that individually is different for everyone. The other thing that I noticed that we see here in this story is that God called Moses by name. And this is such a small thing that we look over all the time, but I was using my study Bible and it was cool that it pointed it out to me, that God called Moses by name. He got Moses' attention. He stopped Moses and said, stop, Moses, Moses. This is not just some burning bush. This is me, God. He recognized, he knew who Moses was. He knew his name, he knew his plan, he knew where he had been through. He knew Moses. And that is what is incredible about this, because that's what I took away. I'm like, oh my goodness. He created me. He knows me. He knows my name. He knows every hair on my head. This is significant. This is crazy. And the next thing that I realized is that Moses then became obedient to God's purpose. God sent Moses on a purpose, and Moses obeyed. And what happened because he obeyed most of the time, sometimes he didn't, but most of the time, he accomplished a great work. Because God allowed him to, he freed the people from Israel and led them out of it. That is crazy. There's also another story that we shared at Extreme Nights with our kids that talked about obedience, and it's Jonah and the big fish. How Jonah was disobedient to God, tried to run, and then all these storms started coming and things started happening in Jonah's life, and it wasn't Satan who was causing it. It was God trying to get Jonah to stop using excuses, to turn around and go to Nineveh where he was told to go and do his purpose that God called him to do. But then Jonah realized that, and he's like, you know what? To stop this big old storm, throw me overboard, and it'll stop. They did that. It stopped. Then God sent a fish that ate Jonah, and Jonah lived inside of a fish for 3 days and 3 nights. Can you imagine living inside of a giant fish for 3 days and 3 nights? That would be so gross. And then here's the other part we tend to forget about. Then it says God ordered the fish to spit him up on an island. He lived in a fish for 3 days and then got barfed up on an island as fish puke. Lovely. I bet he wasn't thinking, this is good at all. But what happened was that he was obedient and he told the massive city the message God wanted him to tell them, and it changed everything. The entire city changed because of a message. And can I tell you something? His message that he gave them in the Bible was like, a couple paragraphs long. That was it. It was short. It wasn't no 45-minute sermon. He just showed up, told them what God told Jonah to tell them, and it changed everything. The people changed their ways, recognized God, and changed. But that only happened because Jonah chose to be obedient. So when God gives you that purpose, when you get that burning bush moment, you have to choose to be obedient to it. You have to choose to listen to God. And I'm going to show you something really cool that we showed at Extreme Nights. And it's hopefully going to help you see, like give you that moment of when you realize don't freak out, people. The lights are about to go off and you're about to see some fire. But that moment of when you realize that this is your purpose. Because we all have it, and it doesn't come overnight. Sometimes you have multiple of these moments. A lot of us who have been living longer than I have had several different changes through life in different directions God has poured them to go. Ultimately, it's to accomplish the same purpose, but it changes sometimes. This is maybe sort of how Moses must have felt when he saw that burning bush. That was my hand, guys. So, that was that moment. My hand is perfectly fine. There's no burn marks. My hand was on fire, but it didn't burn up. It's a cool scientific reaction that costs like $3. It's pretty cool. And that moment of your faces when you're like, what is he doing? He just put his hand on fire. That moment is what I want to ask you. When was that moment for you? When did you have that moment and recognize, oh my gosh, this is it? This is what God wants me to do. This is my burning bush moment. This is the time where God showed me everything that I was created to do. This is it. Because that moment it's that moment for you. That's the reorientation of your life. That's the moment when you've been built up, put on your foundation, found everything God wants you to be, and now you are ready, and God has revealed to you what his plan for your life is. And when you get that moment or get those several moments, you have to hold on to that. And then that becomes your purpose. That becomes what drives you through life. That becomes everything to you. Your purpose is everything. Without it, like I said earlier, I don't know how people do it. When I realized my purpose was the first time that I spoke at students. I don't know, I just walked out on stage and I started speaking in front of those students. The opportunity that I had to sit there and inspire these teenagers to go out and do something crazy with their life. It hit me. Like God just revealed to me, that's it. This is it. This church, this house, this staff, this family, that student ministry, that was the moment that he revealed everything to me. Amen. And then here's the important part. It didn't happen overnight. Hardships came after that. I literally walked off the stage and said I never wanted to speak or preach ever again because it was awful. And I knew that I wanted to be the director of that student ministry. Like that was my heart. That was my passion. That was what I wanted. And it took 2 years after that moment to happen because God showed me and it said, this is your purpose. Now we have to get you ready. So don't lose sight of your purpose just because things got hard after you were shown. Never give up on your purpose just because things started to get difficult. Because then you are letting the world be the boss of you when God created you to rule and reign over the world like a bunch of kings and queens. You have to cling to your purpose like it is everything to you and never give it up for anything. That is why he put you here. He did not put you here to sit here on your couch, suck air and die, to come to church on a Sunday and go back out and do whatever the heck you want the rest of the 7 days of the week. He created you. He did not create you to sit on your couch and give God all the reasons why you can't do what he said you can do. He created you so you can look at God and say, okay, because of what you did, God, I can do everything you told me to do. Because you gave me a purpose, because you gave me that burning bush moment, I can now step out and step up and not be scared and do everything that you created me to do because you are amazing and you love me and you have a purpose for my life. And as long as I believe in that and stand on your foundation, I can be great because you said I can be. This is your purpose. Now I want to show you what our purpose is together. Because your purpose by yourself may look pretty cool. But when you get your purposes together and combine them, crazy things happen. Like if I didn't have tech people to turn this thing on and adjust it to my head shape and lights to cut on, I mean, we might as well just be out in the parking lot with a pickup truck preaching to you guys. Because I don't know how to do all this stuff. Got Wes right here, amazing tech guy. That's his purpose, what he's created to do. We need to combine things to become greater than we are alone. And I want to show you where the Bible talks about this. Another common verse that gets, I think, not overlooked too much. And it is in Matthew chapter 5, just verse 14. And it reads like this. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. Now, a lot of people, including myself, until I started studying this deeper, take this as individual advice. Like, I'm the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop. It's great to know, and that is true. But last time I checked, a city did not have one building. A city was not just Billy Joe Jean's house down the street with a big old banner in front that said, welcome to North Myrtle Beach. You'll find your restaurant in the back of the house, your amusement park out back where the swing set is. No. Last time I checked, a city is a bunch of different moving parts, different buildings, different things, all working together to accomplish an amazing place where we can bring vacationers in to have a good time and hopefully experience the love of God while they're here. So just like a city, this is your purpose together, church. This is who we were made to be. We were made to get your gift and your gift and your gift and your gift, especially his gift and your gift and your gift and everybody's gift in this whole room, slam them together and then be the city on a hilltop and the light of the world. This is who God created you to be. How you may work together with the city to get there, that's your own individual purpose. But I promise you, you were not created to stay an individual. You were created to get together with these people right here beside you and work together and be the city on a hilltop, the light of the world. You were made to be incredible. And I cannot say that enough. And the next thing that I want to say, guys, is I want all the lights to get turned off. I want to show you something else pretty cool. This is me with my purpose, my light, doing what I was supposed to do up here, waving it around, trying to make it happen, trying to light up this room, trying to light up this world. I'm making a little bit of progress, but not a lot. Why doesn't everybody else pull out their phones and help me out here? Glow sticks, phones, whatever you got. Turn on your flashlights. Take a look around the room. Everybody just take a second and look around. This is it. This is the church to the rest of the world. This is who we were made to be. When you put it together, church, when you combine these things together, this is who we are. We were created to take the darkness and take our lights, sprinting into the darkness and say, let's go. What else you got, world? We're going to stand out for Christ because it's who we are created to be. And we're going to make a difference in this world because together we have a foundation. Together we are a family. Together we are a Barefoot Church. And we're going to change this city. We're going to change this community. We're going to change this world together. You guys can turn your lights off. Turn the lights back on. That brings me to my last point, guys, which is stand out. The last thing you were created to do was stand out. The rest of that scripture says this, 15 and 16. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. The lamp is you. The lamp is this house. The lamp is this family, and the lamp is this church. God did not put a vision and a passion and a purpose in Pastor Clay and Miss Kim's heart so that we can sit here and walk out these doors and hide it. God did not give us a plan and a purpose and a mission for our own lives so we can go home and look like everyone else and start cursing because our friends do and we want to fit in with our friends. That is not what you were created to do. You were created to stand out. How can you be the lamp? Just think about it. Just really think about when that burning bush moment was for you, what your purpose is, and how you can take it and be a lamp. And it says that a lamp is put somewhere where it gives light to the entire house. This is the world that I see. This church, this family is the lamp, and this world is the house. What if we put our gifts together, put our purposes together like God said we can? Stop making excuses, set ourselves up on a foundation to win, and started being the light of the world and started being that lamp. So the entire world can look at this church and go, that is a people. That is a people and a people. To change a people. That is a people all living you, that God given you together collectively as a family, loving life, living life, doing what God told them to do. God is obviously in that house. He has made that people great. And I want to know the same God that has set that church on fire. If we lived like that, guys, we wouldn't have to walk out this door to a mess. It wouldn't have to happen. But God needs you to crush your purpose and be obedient and accept the fact that I don't care how old you are, where you came from, male, female, I don't care. We need you. We need you, and God chose to have you. He loves you so much that he said you're included. Every single one of you are included in this city. God said, come along, accept your purpose, and help your family be the light of the world. That is who we are. That is who this church is. God, thank you so much this morning for this opportunity to come and gather, to learn about you, God. God, I thank you for your word, and I thank you for your son, Jesus, God, that he was the ultimate light of the world, God, that Jesus was the example for us to follow, for us to try to step up to. God, I pray that all these people step up with their purposes, stand out from the world because they can be who you created them to be and be a people and a people to change a people, God. This is who we are. God, I pray that they accept that moment that you told them this is who you want them to be, and they run with it, and they become everything you created them to be, God. And I pray these things in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.